He was a talk show host. He was a real character up in Boston. And this is probably 25 years ago. Somebody called and said, I'm a vegetarian, Andy, and I'm taking my family to Fenway Park, and we're vegetarians. Could you suggest something for us to eat there? And he said, try the hot dogs.
That's a good point. So what are you watching?
I don't know if you guys are enjoying yourself, but
it was good. I like that.
You're working your material out. We'll see this in the next column.
I don't have material. It's all free form.
I once interviewed Dick Cavett with a couple other people, and he was doing an appearance in the same building where it was at the Paley Center. And
he repeated the same stuff?
He tested to see if it was going to work or not.
That's great.
And you know what? He was funny as hell.
No, that's great.
And he used the same lines, and then when he went up on stage to do, and we heard the same lines, like, we heard these before.
That's great.
So
that's how we know what works.
New Haven.
Yeah, it was New Haven, except
New Haven first.
we were in the upstairs room. That's the only difference.
That's a great story.
So
thanks again. I'll talk to you guys next year. What?
So Phil, what's going on? What are you seeing right now in the sports world? That's
right now.
Yeah, it's getting under your skin.
With the mute on, I'm watching a baseball game.
Well, okay, that's not bad.
That's what I'm watching right now.
Okay,
it's probably better with the mute on these days.
I see everyone in denial. Everyone knows what the problems are. No one wants to fix them. In fact, they want to advance them. They want to perpetuate them. Major League Baseball's a mess because the games are they're insufferably long. And it's not that they're long; they're just dull. There's just so much stoppage time, and that's a soccer expression, Rob.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. It's okay. I like soccer, Phil, and I know you covered the Cosmos at one point.
I don't love it, but I like it. I watch it. I enjoy it. I learned to. I was with Timmy when I learned to love it. Those were the formative years with the Cosmos.
Well, I love the old Cosmos too. I was happy when SNY was showing those games a couple of years ago when they actually had the contract with them. But soccer to me is, I wish there was a little more attacking and less midfield stuff. That's all.
Well, especially from the U.S. team.
Yeah, well,
I think they went backwards under Linsman.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Klinsmann. Jürgen Klinsmann.
Thinking of the guy who played for the Flyers.
Lindros.
Klinsmann.
Ken Linsman.
Yeah. Ken Linsman, nice. What do I see? I see everything still being sold to TV. That these games would start at midnight if it was worth an extra $10, and the abandonment of the ticket-paying base continues. I'm writing that for tomorrow. The Friday and Saturday games I watched from Yankee Stadium were, for better or worse, and surprisingly, the Yanks were a first-place team. And the place was dead, just dead. There was no one, because it's my belief, my firm belief, that they've priced out so many of their steady customers. They now call them guests. So many of their steady customers, they've priced them out, sent them away. They've conditioned them to live without the Yankees, and they're relying on a corporate buy that doesn't exist. The corporate buy, in addition to 2008 killing it, the stock market crash in 2008, these companies added these compliance officers who say, no, wait a second, we can't spend $2 million of our stockholders' money buying baseball and football tickets. We can't do it. We can't reconcile that. We can't justify that. And yet a Yankee Stadium was priced, it was built, it was designed to do just that at a time when it was beginning to be forbidden. I know the New York Post and News Corp used to have 2 boxes at Madison Square Garden upstairs and things, and if I needed to do something, they don't have them anymore. They were too expensive. They were like you couldn't justify their because their purchase. You couldn't just it stands to reason. Everyone listening here understands what I'm saying. It makes no sense.
Sure.
So,
Phil, one thing I wanted to ask you about. You've said many times that there's no such thing as a graph that always goes up.
Right.
Now,
no line on a graph that always points up.
Yes. Given what has happened at ESPN recently with all the layoffs and the bloodletting, how are pro sports leagues going to continue to generate that revenue? I can't imagine that the contracts are just going to keep going up and up and up. At what point will they level off?
Timmy, we're going to find out, aren't we? We're going to find out.
Yes, we are.
Can't. Now, there may be some upstart. You'll get the guy from Univision who would come in, or the state-run Qatari soccer. Was it BN Sports? Is whatever?
Yes, BN.
I mean, we can. We're state-run. We're all oil-supported, we don't care what it costs. And even those companies will understand eventually, like, we're not getting any return on our money.
Mm-hmm.
And ESPN just can't keep doing this.
Yeah, they thought that forever they were just going to keep getting, was it $7 a month now, subscriber?
Yeah.
And if you think about it,
whatever they want on rights fees.
Right, and
Ray Lewis.
But half the people getting ESPN are people like my mom who've never watched it in their life.
Right.
And to be honest with you, I don't watch ESPN a lot either. I prefer the local teams. I don't really care about the national games.
I try to watch ESPN within about 4 minutes, like, get me out of here.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm trapped in an elevator. I mean, it's just so nonsensical. But, Timmy, Rob, we're going to find out. It can't, nothing recedes like excess. And it's going to recede. It has to recede.
And then
will it be somebody step up and, a Fox, even... Well, Fox, look what Fox is doing. That's my parent company, is News Corp. But look what they're doing. They're spending zillions of dollars on these washed-up ESPN people to repeat their most absurd mistakes. Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp and Pete Rose and Alex Rodriguez, who he's not a bad baseball commentator, but he's a freaking phony son of a bitch liar.
Oh yeah.
I mean, what? These are the people they go after. Ray Lewis, Randy Moss. I mean, it's just like, how do you expect somebody to sit there and tell your audience right from wrong when they so clearly have committed wrong throughout their careers to sustain and enrich their careers?
Why do you think that is, though?
Why would you hire someone like that?
Yeah, but that's my question. Why?
How many times are we going to be drawn to Fox because Pete Rose is on the pregame show and the postgame? How about one time maybe and then no more? And he looks like Leo Gorcey.
I will say it was kind of entertaining in a bizarre way last year during the postseason.
Yeah, it was a freak show.
Yeah, but I don't know that I'd necessarily want to watch that all season. But for the month or so that the postseason exists in baseball, to hear Alex Rodriguez and Pete Rose kind of going after each other and Frank Thomas just throwing in a line here and there, it was kind of bizarrely entertaining. But again, they're two guys
That's what we have the internet for.
Yeah, but they're two guys who just, really have no chemistry. It's just you kind of waited for Pete to say something just completely ridiculous, and then for Alex to be so stunned at what Pete said that he was pretty much speechless. That was the entertainment of it.
Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, I guess you're right. But if freak appeal is what it's all about, they've hit home runs. I don't think so. I'm told they gave Skip Bayless like millions upon millions.
He got crazy money.
Jamie Horowitz, who was at ESPN, he's now at Fox. Now, I want to tell, dear Mr. Murdoch, I think you should be informed that some nut job has gotten control of your checkbook.
Well, it's for Fox Sports 1, right? It's not just for Fox Sports, is that
right? Well, that's the.
They want to make that
This is Fox's second go around at challenging ESPN.
Right.
And both times the game plan is to out ESPN at a time when everyone's sick of ESPN.
Yeah, wouldn't a better idea just to let ESPN implode?
Put up the Yule log.
We're talking with Phil Mushnick from the New York Post, and always good to have Phil on. The second time been on the show.
Yeah, it's always good.
It's always good. We hope Mr. Murdoch doesn't hear this tape.
No, I don't care. Hey, I know Mr. Murdoch, and we've met, I'd say, a dozen times, and each time he has said the same thing to me. He has shaken my hand, and he has said, "I don't believe we've met."
Well,
Yeah, my newspaper editor said that to me too. That was the day I got laid off.
What, the Record?
Yes. And we had met about 5 times previously.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was like, when he said that, and I'm like, seriously?
That's like that guy who used to be at CB. What was his name? Charles, who was fired because he hadn't shown up, and then he showed up and he realized he hadn't been fired because they couldn't find him to fire him. What else do you want?
We have about 3 minutes left.
Right.
One thing you bring up often is how games start later, especially during the playoffs. They start at like 9 o'clock, and on the West Coast at 6 o'clock. Now the West Coast is used to getting games.
Listen, it's not
earlier.
about when they start; it's about when they end.
Well, right. My question is, why would the leagues start them so late? And knowing they're going to end it late on the East Coast.
Because they can get, it's all about follow the money, boys. It's all about TV money. If a network can get primetime ad revenue, why do the games start earlier on Sunday nights? Because primetime starts at 7 instead of 8.
Okay, that's a good point.
So if they can get primetime revenue from both coasts, they don't care if anyone watches the end of the game. And how many Nielsen ratings, right? Oh, there was so much. The share was huge. On the East Coast, it was 32%. How many of those homes, by the third quarter, people were asleep? They can't gauge that.
That's true, yeah.
They weren't awake to turn it off.
Because when we used to go out to see our dad he lived in Palm Springs, we would love getting the football games at 10 in the morning. So.
Oh, yeah.
But
we're just coming home.
And they're so used. I'm sure they're used to getting games earlier out there. That if the game starts at 5, because the league's always said, well, it's to get the West Coast involved too, because you can't have a game start at 5 o'clock in the afternoon when they're all coming home.
To that. Hey, listen, if you're an NFL fan and if you're an NFL season ticket holder and you're really worried about your convenience and logical game, you want to be a fan of the worst team in the smallest TV market. Because those games are going to start at a reasonable hour, logical hour, 1 p.m. local time, 1 p.m.
Exactly.
Good point.
And once your team gets good, say goodbye. I have a little note for tomorrow. I have a friend from college, Newton Francis Jeffers III. We were just playing golf down in South Carolina together, and he told me he dumped his all his life. He was a Steelers fan. He was a sick Steelers fan. He finally got Steelers season tickets. He dumped them. He says, I can't indulge these 4:30 games on Sunday nights when it's freezing, and I can't go to these Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night, Saturday night games. It's too much like work that I'm paying for.
Yeah, exactly.
He's done. He dumped them. I think he had his tickets for 2 or 3 years. He died to get them. He dumped them.
Wow. Our cousin did the same thing with the Redskins. He finally got them, and then he just gave them up. That was part of the reason. Phil, we want to thank you for joining us. Phil Mushnick from the New York Post.
All right, wait a second.
Okay.
Who did better, Sandomir or I?
Wow, I don't know.
Yeah,
we're not good.
It's okay.
We love you both.
One guy's a legend.
Well, we love you both.
One guy's a legend. Remember that.
We're both legends. You're both legends.
I got to go with my guy Mushnick.
We got. They're both.
You're just co-op.
They're both legends. Thanks, Phil, for joining us.
All right,
Take care,
fellas.
man.
Thank you.
Thank you, Phil.
Good luck. Bye.
Bye. And that's from the Press Box right here. Thank you for listening. I am Rob Leonard. He is
Tim Leonard.
We'll see you next week with another new show every Monday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. right here on 90.3 WHPC, WHPC HD, Garden City.